What's up, guys? It's Wobble back again with another episode of the Let's Get Wobble podcast. This is episode 10. Gonna be a little bit different again this episode. It's just gonna be me by myself here. Didn't post anything last weekend, so I'm gonna fill you in on what happened last weekend, recap you in with what's going on with the new job bullshit, and then what's with the weeks to come. So a lot of information to be put out. Wanted to get some content out for you guys, so you guys had something to listen to this weekend instead of having nothing. Unfortunately, my plans got kind of crossed up and I didn't have enough time to record the podcast this weekend. I just enjoyed some time with some family and some friends, but we're making it work. So we'll get content out for you guys the best we can. I'll explain more as the episode goes on. But as of last weekend, I'll backpedal a little bit further. You guys know from the previous podcast, I did get my new position at work. So I transferred from one position into a maintenance position at the job that I'm at now. So the week prior, where my schedule was really busy, they changed my days off and they changed the hours that I worked. So I was adjusting from having to get up around 12:15 ish in the afternoon, which I know some people are like, Jesus Christ, that's fucking late to get up normally. But so I was used to working second shift hours. So I'd get up at 12:15, leave the house by 1 o'clock, a little later, and then I would clock in at 1:30 p.m. and I'd work from 1:30 p.m. or basically 2 to 10. And then I would get off at 10 p.m. and I probably wouldn't go to bed till sometime around. I mean, there were some nights it was past 2 a.m. in the morning. I'd be going to bed and then turning around and waking back up at afternoon. So that was the schedule I was working with before. With this new position, they work AM shift, and I had to work 5/8 for the first week that I was there, kind of as what they call an OJT or on the job training. Um, so I worked 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. So I was trying to get my schedule switched over the weekend, basically, and it was just a hassle. It was hard to do. Um, didn't get great sleep. I took naps through the day, and I tried not to, but at the same time, I was just too tired to stay awake. So last week was kind of rough with the sleep schedule, but learned about this new position, did my 40 hours of the on the job training, and learned a lot. There's a lot more to learn, obviously, but it's a good position. I really enjoy it. It involves so much less stress than what I dealt with before. Um, I definitely enjoy the department that I'm with now. Um, the maintenance department, we have 8 guys total. We have 4 MRWs or maintenance repair workers. We have 4 specialty guys, and then we have 1 maintenance supervisor. So very calm, very laid back kind of workplace. As long as you get your work done and everything's up to par. I mean, we just kind of do our preventive maintenance and we just basically get our work done and our boss isn't down our necks. He's not micromanaging everything. And it's a nice step back from what I was used to. So got to meet those guys and learn what they do, what I'll be doing in my new position, and definitely enjoying it. A lot of people have asked me over the last 2 weeks, what do you think of this place? Or do you wish that you would have stayed at your old position? And I'm like, you know what? It's just, I love this new position. It is a huge door that opened for me, and I couldn't be more thankful for it. Getting my schedule down, I work 4 10s, so I work 6 to 4 a.m. to p.m. and I have an extra day off at the end of the week, so I have Friday, Saturday, Sundays, and holidays off now. So it's just a different schedule. It's a different way of living almost. It's weird that you feel that way. But last week I came home from work and I saw the yard needed mowed, and I had energy to go mow the yard. Like anytime I would get off work on second shift, you couldn't do anything after work because it's 10 p.m. And the only thing really to do after that point is close the bars down. But I came home last week, mowed the yard after work, and now I've been in charge of cooking dinners here lately, which isn't a bad thing. I do enjoy cooking, but like I just got burnt out of it super quick. I'm like, man, I don't feel like fucking cooking anything, and because I'm not used to having to cook meals for me and her both. I normally just have to cook something for myself for lunches through the week, so I would do a meal prep on the weekends, and grab a quick breakfast before I left for work, and then I would take whatever I meal prep. But now it's dinner every night, or not every night, I should say. And she does cook some, but it's just a different change. And me and her getting to spend quality time in the evenings together, it's been nice. And being able to see her and spend more time with her, it's definitely been a blessing in disguise. And like I said, this position just helped me out so much, and I appreciated the opportunity. And I'm going to stick it out with the maintenance department, and we'll see where it goes from there. But it's just been a busy week. And then stand by. Sorry, I needed to wet my whistle with my Tito's and lemonade that I got sitting here. But it was just a busy week. And then we rolled directly into the weekend. So Friday night, or Friday afternoon, I guess you could say, when I got off work at 3 p.m., Kristen and I went to Walmart. We had to pick up some groceries for the week upcoming. And we were out at Walmart. And next thing I know, I got a call from work saying they were calling for overtime. There was a maintenance issue that they needed covered. They had exhausted the overtime list. I was the last person to call, and they called me. I was like, yeah, I'll come in for sure. But it's going to take me a minute because I'm grocery shopping, but I'll be there eventually. So unfortunately, Chris and I had to cancel our dinner plans, but we got the shopping done, got back to the house. I went into work and did a small maintenance issue. It only took me like a half hour max from clocking in to clocking out, but obviously there's overtime that comes with that, and I get 4 hours of overtime minimum for callbacks. So went and did that. It was super easy, but at the same time, I felt bad because her and I had plans to go out to dinner, and I told her I'm really sorry that I had to cancel that, but at the same time, she understands. I'm doing the overtime so that way her and I have the extra cash, and she understood that. She wasn't upset about missing out on dinner, or she wasn't hungry really anyways. So um, we just grabbed a couple pretzels on the way home, snack on or something. And then, I got Subway on the way home from work. I told her I was going to pick up Subway. So I did that Friday. Saturday, we had a joint belated birthday party, I guess you would say. So the last couple years, I've spent my birthday or somewhere around my birthday at my mom's house. We would always go over, visit her, and her boyfriend has a smaller kid, and it's in the summertime, so we would set up a slip and slide for my party, and the kids would play on the slip and slide, whatever, and the adults would cook out and drink beer and bullshit and whatever. Well, for the past 3 years, when I've done this at my mom's, I always got wobbled enough or enjoyed myself enough where I thought I could go down the slip and slide. And I'd do it a few times and play with the kids and have a good time doing it, whatever. But I mean, let's be honest, the older I get, the more I realize that shit takes a toll on my body. And I wake up the next couple of days sore as fuck. But it just, to me, it's a big thing because it reminds me that I don't want that kid inside of me to die. I still want to be that little kid that enjoys slipping slides and fucking doing stupid shit like that. And I have a lot of fun doing it. So this year, didn't do it at my mom's because I actually have my own place now and had my own place where I could set up the slip and slide. So I invited some of my family and some family friends over, some guys from the motorcycle club over, and we just had a big barbecue and enjoyed ourselves. I set up the slip and slide. We had a blast. It was a good time. A lot of people came. I didn't expect as many people to come as who did. And then I invited the guys that were getting off a second shift at 10 o'clock. I invited them over for a bonfire. So we probably started the party around 4 p.m. and we didn't end the party till almost 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. And we just had a blast the whole time. Plenty of drinks were involved. The slip and slide was great. The food was amazing. People brought different side dishes and shit. We had burgers, hot dogs, baked beans, mac and cheese, just, the fixings. We really did. We had a good time spending time with people we enjoy being around. And Kristen enjoyed herself too. It was, like I said, a belated birthday party for kind of the both of us. We wanted to get people together and kind of do a last little summer bash with all of our friends and family, something big. And it was a good time. Sunday was all about recouping. Woke up with my legs on fire and very sore. My lower back was sore. But at the same time, it wasn't horrible. It wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be, but I was still kind of sore. from the slip and slide afterwards. But those are just kind of the price you pay for those things. So a little bit of Tylenol, a little bit of R&R, and everything was back to normal and firing Monday morning. So then having to adjust again to this week. Now I'm working my 410 schedule. So now I'm working 6 to 4 instead of 7 to 3, which I was the week prior. So having to get up even earlier in the morning. So now I'm in 2 weeks ago, I guess you could say, I was going to bed at 2 a.m. Now I think I crashed out last night at about 9:30 p.m., which I know sounds awful, but like I got to get up at 4:45, 5 o'clock now. And I'm like, man, it fucking 5 o'clock comes around early. And I feel bad for Kristen because now I'm getting up before she gets up. I set a very loud alarm because I'm a one alarm kind of person. If there's one thing about me that grinds my gears that I haven't talked about on this podcast, probably, it's somebody that sets fucking 6 alarms to wake up to. That drives my fucking shit crazy. Why would you wake up long enough to turn an alarm off, then roll right back over and fall asleep? For me, it's one alarm. And that alarm means, hey, you have got to get up. There's no snooze. There's no, oh, I'll just lay here for a couple minutes. No, that alarm means get your fucking ass out of bed and let's get this fucking train moving. You don't have an option. You fucking have to. For me, it's always just been one alarm. Like when I was a kid, my mom would come in, she'd turn the lights on my room. She wouldn't have to say anything to me. She just turned the lights on in my room and I immediately got up. It wasn't a huge hassle to get me out of bed as a kid, you know. I just don't know. At most I would set 2 alarms. One is just a backup an alarm, and I've always been like that. I never did like to hit the snooze button on my alarm. Granted, there's been times where my alarm didn't go off because I didn't set it, but I just have never been that kind of person. And I've known a lot of people in my life that say they set 5, 6 alarms, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like that drives me fucking crazy. But I mean, it's their life, but for some reason it just drives me nuts. I don't know why. I could never do it, but so I set one alarm and I make it loud so that way I wake up to it. But of course, when I do that, it wakes Kristen up and she doesn't have to be up for another hour or so. So I feel bad. And I told her, like, I'm going to try to find an alarm that's a little quieter, but still gets me up and doesn't wake her up. And luckily last night I got up before my alarm went off, like minutes before my alarm went off. So I went ahead and turned the alarm off and let her sleep. As I was getting ready to walk out the door, I gave her a kiss goodbye, and she's like, hey, your alarm didn't wake me up this morning. That surprised me. And I was like, well, I actually turned my alarm off. So that's why it didn't wake you up, because there wasn't an alarm to go off. But yeah, it's just adjusting to it and working 10-hour days. I know it may sound different, but those extra 2 hours, make it a little bit of a difference. And you kind of notice it at the end of the day. Like this week, I've been extremely tired when I get home from work, and I'm trying to find a way to break the habit of wanting to take a nap. Like that's all I've wanted to do all week when I get home from work. I'm like, man, if I could just take a little nap. But for me, there is no little nap, if anybody that knows me. But so I've been trying to stay a little bit more active after work and trying to at least come out to the living room, watch some TV, or get moving around, doing something to keep me from falling asleep. Because I know if I fall asleep, it's over with. But just trying to break the old schedule and get back into the new one, or get into the new one, I guess I should say. But it's been a lot of fun. It's been a great time these last couple weeks. I'm looking forward to continuing my role in the maintenance department, and we'll continue to move on from there. I hate that I did have to give up some things, and those who know will know. I was a part of some special teams at work, and I had to give that up for the maintenance position. Unfortunately, I don't really know why, but I was just told that there were some things I had to give up in order to receive this new job with the new department. And I considered that when I took the position, when I weighed my pros and cons, and I didn't think it would boil down to it, but because it did, it's just one of those things. And hated that I had to give that up, but at the same time, I gave it up for something to better my future, I guess I would say. So we'll just have to go with that for now. I know I can't get into a lot of detail, and I hate that I can't, but yeah, but it's been a good time. Trying to decide whether I'm going to make this a 2-parter or not. I'm going to have to find enough content to stretch this out if I want to make it a 2-parter, because This episode, I'm hoping, is going to drop this weekend. This weekend's going to be kind of busy for us. So I'm recording right now on Thursday. No, I'm recording right now on Wednesday, the 21st. So tomorrow, being Thursday, I have work. Friday, Kristen and I are going to go on our own motorcycle ride, I do believe. We're going to go out to dinner and make up for that dinner that I lost when I went in for overtime. Sunday's just going to be an R&R day, getting ready to gear down and get back into the work week again. Might have to take another trip to the grocery store, get some meal prep going on. Her and I like to do breakfast sandwiches here lately. So instead of like meal prepping lunches for the week, we've been meal prepping breakfasts for the week, which is nice. It's a change up for me because I'm not used to eating breakfast. So we've been making sausage, egg, and cheese sandwiches for the last 2 weeks, and I think I could probably go another week with them, and I'm starting to get burned out on them. So I'm gonna have to try to find something else that I can meal prep. Uh, if you guys know of any easy meal prep tips, fucking let me know because it's just I'm getting burned out on some of the stuff that I've been eating, and I'm like, fuck, if I could just meal prep something at the beginning of the week. I know it's super hard to do. I don't mind the leftovers. Kristen does not like leftovers, so leftovers don't bother me. But at the same time, it'd be nice to have something meal prepped where I could just grab it and go in the mornings. But if I do a 2-part episode, it's because this weekend is going to be busy. So I'll have this episode for this weekend. The next episode, we are going to have our fantasy football draft with some of the guys from second shift that we had with last year. Had a lot of fun doing it. I'm not even a big NFL fan, I guess you would say. Like I don't know. I don't have a team per se. I just like to watch players and I like to watch football. So I'll watch games, but I wasn't really a diehard fantasy football fan. There's some people that are diehards. They fucking love fantasy football. I'm not a huge fan of it. I'll play just to fucking play, but had a lot of fun with it last year, and it was something that I'd like to continue on with the guys from second shift this year. So we got 12 people total in our league, so it should be a good time. We're gonna have a little bit of a party Saturday. We're gonna draft the party, then we're having like our little celebration of my new transfer that same day. So there's gonna be food and alcohol, I'm sure. People are gonna be having a good time. Looking forward to it too. One thing that did not get covered at the last podcast, I don't believe, maybe I did, I can't remember. When me and Eric talked at the last motorcycle club meeting, we went over a bunch of different things that we had talked about and whatever happens at our meetings, blah, 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 whatever. I had gotten approved by the president of the motorcycle club that I'm with our chapter. I've been leading a lot of motorcycle rides back home and to events that we've been taking, some other side rides that we do, and just some random rides. My president's been wanting me to lead the pack, which for me, it wasn't my favorite spot. I liked being in the back of the pack when I ride, but at the same time, I didn't really mind being up front either. So I'd been riding up front for a little bit, and I had mentioned to my president on the way back from Rendezvous that I knew he had an open road captain spot, and I told him that I would be interested if it was something that he would consider pursuing for me. And he said he had already had that in mind. He was kind of grooming me into it, was kind of hoping that I would take over it. So at the last motorcycle club meeting, I got promoted to road captain of the Cambridge chapter. So went and had my tabs. It's actually at the shop right now, it's not at the shop, but it's at the embroidery shop, getting my tab put on for road captain, and really excited about that. I wanted to take a little bit of a step further into the motorcycle club, take some more responsibility on, and enjoy that position. I felt like it was a good fit for me, and a lot of the guys joke about it, me being slow and shit like that. But I've got an older bike. I do have an older '09 Road King compared to some of the guys that have street glides and road glides and newer bikes. So obviously my shit's a little bit slower than theirs, and they like to fucking joke about me being slower than them. So I know Playboy's going to listen to this and he's going to fucking laugh about it, but he needs to know that I beat him in a street race, whether he wants to fucking admit that to anybody or not. My '09 Road King beat his fucking street glide in a road race. So whether he wants to make fun about me being slow or not, we'll just go ahead and defer him back to that. But regardless, I'll never let him live that down. He's never going to let me live it down that he could have smoked me if it wasn't for Sam, blah, blah, blah. He makes excuses. That's all he is a fucking excuse, man. He just fucking whatever. But it was a good time, but it's definitely a big step forward for me. I'm looking forward to pursuing that with a motorcycle club and taking on all the challenges that come with that. Already, I've gotten us lost once. The guys like to make fun of me for that too. Yeah, I'm the road captain, but we're still gonna fucking get lost. If you're following some guy who doesn't know where the fuck we're going, then everybody's gonna be lost. And I told him that. I said, if there's somebody that's gonna get us lost, it might as well be me. So, but like I said, I really do appreciate the guys thinking about me for that spot, and it's definitely a blessing in disguise for some people not to. It's definitely been a blessing in disguise for me. So I guess I can round out this episode and kind of bring this all back to a topic. I know I've talked about this topic in particular before, but for me, it's especially come into play a lot right now. And once again, it's finding those things that you enjoy doing in life and making time for them. Like I noticed today, I looked at myself in the mirror and I'm like, I haven't shaved. I'm in desperate need of a shave for sure. And I know I used to like doing it. I used to enjoy having a shave and caring about my appearance. I need to get my beard trimmed up again. It's starting to grow out a little wild. And I need to take the time to do those things because I know what that means for me. And doing those things and how it makes me feel, I definitely think that would help a little bit. It would, even just giving me something to do after work. I think that's one of the things that I'm going to try to focus on so that way I don't take a nap is coming home, shaving my head, smoking a cigar even. I had a cigar at the birthday party and I enjoyed it, but just to sit down and sit out on the back porch and smoke a cigar for the evening. I thought about doing that before I started the podcast, but I wasn't really ready for one just yet. I poured myself a Tito's and lemonade and kind of easily working myself through it. I don't want to get too fucking wobbled because I know I got to get up early in the morning, but probably finish out the podcast. I'll finish off this Tito's and lemonade and go outside and have a small cigar and just like to sit outside and listen to the animals and shit outside and the noises and shit. That just, for some reason, that grounds me and it makes me sit back, contemplate. I think a lot when I'm outside smoking a cigar. I don't know what it does for me, but it really just it helps me get through shit sometimes. I don't know why I've strayed so far away from those. I feel like it's difficult to make time for those things, especially when your schedule's so busy. I also need to find something else that I enjoy doing. I continuously talk about those two things really for me, smoking a cigar and cutting my hair and with my appearance, but I need to find something else. I enjoy playing with the dogs. I have a bulldog and a Boston Terrier here at the house, and I do enjoy wrestling and romping around with them a little bit and playing with them. And I think maybe that's something I need to do is take some time out of my day and give them some love and attention too. But because that monotony that you get into when you're working is just fucking, it's hard to get out of, really. I mean, it's the same thing over and over every day. And then you come home and you continue to fall in those same ruts. And one thing that always comes back to me was a baseball coach told me this. He said 90% of the world is average. I think I might have talked about this on the podcast. I can't remember or not, but I know he said 90% of the world is average. 90% of the world gets up, gets dressed, goes to work, works a regular day, comes home, relaxes in the evening, does their evening chores, goes to bed, wakes up the next morning, does it all over again. 90% of the world does that on a regular basis. They are in that routine. They continuously do the same thing over and over again. And he said, that's average. Average people do that. And he said, the 10% of the world is a place that you could fall into, but what are you going to do that makes you not average? So I need to find that part. Again, I had it before. I remember, I mean, once you have it, you don't lose it because you just feel different. I think it makes you take a whole different look at life. I need to find out what makes me not average, I guess you could say. But really, I mean, I take a step back and I look at my life and me working at where I do, just that alone makes me kind of not average. But to the people who do work where I do, it is average for them. People don't have a podcast that they continuously try to do. and fuck up, which I do. But the people who do, those are average people. They continuously upload fucking content every week, which I'm not good at sometimes. I'm part of a motorcycle club, Obviously, those things don't make me average, but just trying to find something to break out of that regular work week and some things that I can do that I can enjoy, I guess, to help me break out of that average lifestyle when I come home. And don't get me wrong, I wouldn't take away anything that I've done. I love the motorcycle club. I love doing the podcast. I love everything that I do. I love the place that we'll put that on the back burner. I was going to say I love the place that I work. I do now. I enjoy what I do. And my boss or my supervisor told me his goal was to make it so that people enjoyed coming into work and didn't need to take time off work to get away from it. And just within the 2 weeks that I've done it, I'm like, yeah, I definitely get that now. Like, I feel it. Whereas before I was wanting to burn time all the time because I didn't want to be at that place. Now I'm like, what's the point in going home earlier? Really, if I just go in today, I'm not doing anything else throughout the day. So I might as well just go in and enjoy the day and have a good time at work with some of the guys. And we do. I think we have a good time. We enjoy ourselves and we still get our job done while having fun. I think that's an important thing to do with your workplace because I know some places you can't do that. It's very difficult. And that gets you again in a rut where you got to feel like you got to dig yourself out of. But we're almost at a half-hour episode. I'm probably going to have to trim a lot of this bullshit out because there's a lot of places where I just sat and gathered my thoughts, I feel. But the next part, we're going to be talking about the fantasy football shit that we got going on. I've got a league that we're going to do with the guys at work. Do a little bit of talking about that, and then we'll transition and do into that, I think. So sorry it wasn't a great long episode and there wasn't a whole lot of funny shit that happened because, my life's been pretty boring here lately. I'm definitely going to try to find another podcast guest to get on with me, somebody new. I've got somebody in mind. I need to talk to him and see if he'd be willing to do it. But I think having my president from the motorcycle club on, I wanted to get him at Rendezvous, but he told me to find him when he was sober. And I've given him since we got home from Rendezvous. So I'm thinking that's probably enough time, hopefully, to catch back up because Rendezvous gets wild sometimes. But I'd like to talk to him a little bit, get an insight on the Cambridge chapter and what he feels, where the club is going, and just kind of give you guys some background history about how Cambridge started and who we are as a chapter. So I'd like to get Scout on, sit down and do a full episode with him. I think that would be really fun. That guy's he's done so much, and I'd really like to pick his brain because I'm sure there's plenty of stories he could tell. There's plenty of good things that he has to share, and I definitely think it would be beneficial. And then I'd like to we have 2 prospects with the motorcycle club right now with our chapter. I'd like to kind of pick their brains a little bit. I'm not sure how they would feel about being on the podcast. I haven't talked to them about it. I'm assuming they both know about it, but I'd like to talk to them about it, see if it would be something that they'd be interested in getting in on and figuring out. So maybe you guys could listen to a prospective perspective. Well, those are big words for wobble. But you can kind of get a little bit of an insight on what it's like being a prospect for the Cambridge Motorcycle Club. Kind of get a little bit of a feel of what it's like being a prospect for our motorcycle club. But hopefully we'll get those lined up. We'll see what happens. Until next time, guys, stay wobble.